the Director General of the BBC, Tim Davie. Thank you so much for joining us.
At the heart of Nairobi, where education meets ambition, the University of Nairobi has long been a hub for knowledge and global discourse. Today, the halls of this esteemed institution echo with the voices of experience and aspiration as the university hosts a prestigious panel from the BBC, one of the world's most trusted news organizations.
Had power through limited distribution. So you've only got so many TV channels, and I own the slots. The internet essentially opens everything up. And suddenly when you go home tonight, you've got infinite choice, almost endless choice. And I think that puts massive pressure on everyone. But there is a good but, which is, I think at the heart of it, regardless of the distribution, regardless of all the noise, regardless of the competition, people in the end come back to what they trust and quality storytelling.
The session, organized as part of the university's ongoing media forums, aimed to bridge the gap between aspiring journalists and the realities of the global news reporting.
It's going to rise. I'm very, very optimistic about it, weirdly, because I think you might spend a lot of time doing other things, but at the end of the day, the desire to come back and know the facts and go to quality storytelling remains. And I would just have faith in that. Don't get fully distracted by all the noise around you.
Properly coverage, right? So for example, if you're covering Kenyan news and your journalists are only from certain areas, of course you won't get fair coverage of entire Kenya. And so one of the things that we say, and I think it's one of the things that I'm proud of our team, we cover Africa based in Africa. And so what you should see progressively is more accurate coverage of the continent, as you have, you know, the BBC being one of the few international outlets that actually has the studios that do the Africa shows on the continent. A lot of others will do it from Washington or, you know, other parts of the world, but uniquely that's one of the ways in which BBC stands out.
The panel detailed the recruitment process, internships, mentorship programs, and the BBC Academy, where students can hone their skills and gain first-hand experience in the international reporting.
But I just want to make one point, which is that will be for a handful of people. And I'm always very blunt, by the way, as you know, I'm quite honest. So the first thing you have to do is say, right, I'm going to go and get some experience, however that's going to be. And I'll tell you one thing, you very rarely in a career go, I want his job, I'm going to do 3 jobs and get his job. It's a winding road. And you can join the BBC at different levels. You can come in at different points. You might come in doing a job that's not quite what you had in mind. But the other thing I'd say is great people are very curious. They want to learn. They don't actually define their careers too narrowly. I never said I want to be Director General, apart from when I did the interview, that was helpful at that point. But what I have thought is I'd love to do a job I care about that's got, you know, leading big teams. So think about what you really like doing. Think about what you're passionate about, and then go after a number of opportunities. With regards to the BBC, it's pretty straightforward. We have a careers site, you can go on there, you can look at the various things there. We do have opportunities, we take a limited number of people, but and we take the best of the best. But I would just be very open-minded. It's not easy, by the way. You haven't chosen the easiest path. And I think life should not be, about the easiest path. You're going to have to, things that you really care about and are really passionate tend to be difficult. By the way, my job is not, there are days in my job when I worry, what have I done here? Because it's so pressured or whatever. But every time I come back to it, it's worth the fight. So apply to the BBC, put your best foot forward, but also go and get whatever experience you can and keep knocking on our door, because that's what good people do.
He shared stories from his own career, including challenges he overcame, pivotal moments that shaped his leadership, and the changing nature of media in an increasingly digital world. As he spoke, the chairman highlighted the importance of adaptability and innovation in the media industry, urging the students to embrace new technologies and to continuously evolve in their careers.
It's crazy. So we are really developing a diverse organisation, and our preference is to grow people on the ground who have got deep expertise. In terms of, I mentioned the fact that from a gender perspective, we're now mainly women. Across the organisation, we're setting the standard in terms of targets for ethnic diversity, for disability, and I track that every day. If you're a leader, I see the numbers, we really push at that. There is kind of another level to this, which is, that's all very well, but how included you feel.
In a world where misinformation can spread as quickly as accurate reporting, the BBC chairperson stressed the need for ethical standards and the responsibility that comes with telling stories that affect millions of lives.
There's no hierarchy. It's all got to be fantastic, and it's all got to be world class. Last point is diversity is also about diversity of thought and diversity of background. It's not just gender or ethnic group. It's basically also about what kind of background you come from, how open-minded you are. And I think you need a team. A lot of you will go on to successful careers. When you're developing a team, you need to make sure it's got different voices. I never recruit people that act exactly like me. It's a very comfortable interview. That's not the right person to hire. Yeah? So do not recruit people that's similar to you. It's absolutely profound in the way we do that. What was your second question?
Education. Do you make a better journalist if you have an economics first degree or medicine or something of the sort?
I don't generalise like that. I'm an English student, and I happen to think that reading novels is helpful. I think, no, really, honestly, I think the key defining characteristic of a journalist is they are incessantly curious, as I said. They look for a story. So if they're going into an engineering story, they will hoover up expertise, interest. They're just unceasingly curious. And I'm always suspicious when people go, I'm a journalist and I just do this, or I'm an engineer, I just do this, or I'm in marketing. Honestly, a lot of it is, some of it is special. There are real specialisms, like heart surgery. I don't want anyone playing on that, or lighting. But generally in life,
being a pilot.
A great journalist is just, exactly, or you don't put me flying an aeroplane.
Yeah.
But I do think we sometimes exaggerate, and we say to people, like when I go home, people say to me, my children don't say, oh look, the director general's right, or the marketing man's right, I am dad. No, I mean seriously, you are more than a journalist, you are you.
With these and more sessions of Career Week and the Innovation Week, among others, the university aimed to equip the students with necessary tools that will help them manage in the real world and make the world a better place for themselves and others.
A reporter can go across a brief and go from science to religion to health, if they're hungry to learn.
I think the third question, which was
I remember
thesis-like.
Yeah. No, this is, in some ways, I think it's a question I often get asked, but I don't think, if I may, it's that complicated. Which is, it doesn't matter whether you're doing a short X, kind of little bit of short form, or a clip, or a post, even a post of, however many characters are allowed nowadays, or a half an hour program. We never compromise.
That day marked a moment of connection, of bridging the gap between the classroom and the real world, as the BBC chair had not only shared their vast experiences, but had ignited the imaginations of the new generation of journalists ready to take on the challenges of the evolving media landscape. It left an indelible mark on the hearts and minds of the students fortunate enough to be in that room.
No one's life journey is like yours. So, of course, you learn from everyone. And the DG said he looks at things he likes in other people and he does them. But different people got their media break in different ways. And you need to find what works for you. You might find a guy like Ron Cliff did not wait until he finished university. He started hustling while in university, applying for jobs, a door opened, he never looked back. Others will decide to go their own way. They'll decide to build their own social media presence. I've seen people who are blogging in the universities, who are running active sites, so that employers come looking for you.
Na hatimaye chuo kikuu cha Nairobi